Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's Dalyn here. So in this video, I'm going to break down the top 11 mistakes that people make whenever they buy their first house. And if you would, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell icon so you never miss one of my future videos. I'm bringing out many videos about personal finance and real estate. These are things that are going to improve and change your life, so you don't want to miss it. So let's go ahead and dive right in. The first and biggest mistake that I believe people make whenever they go to buy their first house is not getting pre-approved first. So it's the typical case of the people will be shopping and they'll really pick out a house they like. However, they have not gotten pre-approved for that house. So they have no way of actually being serious buyers on that house before they get pre-approved. So I always recommend talking to the lender of your choice first and making sure you know how much house that you can afford and then going shopping. Because it doesn't get much worse than picking out the perfect house, the perfect backyard, the perfect interior, and then you realize that you can't actually afford it according to the bank. And then you have to tell your wife, your kids, and the agent that, hey, we're gonna have to back down from this. We just simply can't afford it. So make sure you get that pre-approval. It's a fairly simple process, may take you 1 or 2 days. You just submit some documents to the bank. Make sure you get that done first. So the number 2 on my list is buying more house than you can afford. So let's say you went ahead and got the pre-approval, but then you saw how much you got pre-approved for, so you assume that that is how much house you should buy. Well, that's not always the case. It's up to you to look at your individual personal financial situation and decide, can we afford this house? If you are going to borrow to purchase a house, you need to look at that monthly payment and then look at your income to see whether or not that's reasonable. And mistake number 3, it's kind of like number 2, but it's leaving yourself with no savings. So a lot of people, they get so excited about buying a house that they put all their money down with the down payment. And this is a big mistake. What happens when 2-3 months after you purchase a house, a big repair item comes up? If you leave yourself with no cushion, no savings, you are really out of luck in that situation. So make sure you have a good 3 to 6 months of reserves, even after the down payment, to make sure you keep yourself and your family safe. And mistake number 4 is assuming that you need 20% down. It's common knowledge that people recommend 20% down with buying a house, but no one says that that is a hard and fast rule. In fact, you can get loan options from 0% in some cases, which I'll talk about later, to 3.5%, to 5%, to 10%, to 15%. The list goes on and on. There's no one that says you have to have 20%. If you do put down 20% for a conventional loan, which is the loan product that most people get, yes, you do wipe away your PMI, which is private mortgage insurance. This is an additional fee above and beyond your mortgage that you do avoid if you have 20% down. However, if your budget doesn't allow for it, or you really need housing fast, then you can put down less than 20%. Mistake number 5, guys, is only talking to one lender. So you want to call multiple banks. You want to talk to multiple mortgage bankers to determine what is the best rate, because lender A down the street may have a much different rate than lender B down the street. So make sure you talk to at least 2 lenders, probably more like 3 or 4, to determine what's going to be the best interest rate I can borrow at. So mistake number 6 is not factoring in hidden costs. There's a lot of costs that go into purchasing a home. You've got property taxes, you have hazard insurance, and you have a bunch of other fees that are tacked on at the closing table. If you just think that you can plop down 20% or whatever your down payment is, and that's the end of it, that's certainly not the case. There's a bunch of fees that you pay at the closing table. For example, you may pay the entire next 12 months of insurance, so that's something you have to come out of pocket for. Not everything is rolled into your loan. So those are the things you need to talk to your agent, or better yet, the mortgage professional that you're speaking to. Mistake number 7, guys, is not negotiating enough. So everything is negotiable for the most part in a real estate transaction. If you see that roof is aged and you're going to need to replace it in the next 5 years, just ask. Say, will you take off, $6,000-$10,000 off of this, knowing that I'm going to have to replace this? Everything's negotiable, and that is what your agent is also there for. But you really have to get creative. You have to think outside the box and see, where can I save a little bit? Where can I think ahead and go ahead and get the best deal today as possible? So mistake number 8, guys, is not keeping up with your credit score. I'm going to leave a link in the description below of a website where you can get a free annual credit check, but there's just no excuse for not knowing your credit score. And this is going to be one of the first things that the mortgage professional looks at when they're determining how much of a loan they should give you on your house. So mistake number 9 is ignoring federal programs like FHA, VA, USDA. These are programs where you can get a 0 down payment potentially. So for the USDA and the VA programs, you can get as little as 0% down. For the VA, you have to be a veteran. For the USDA, you have to be purchasing a house in a rural area. So the details of that are beyond the scope of this video, but don't just assume that you have to go the conventional route. You have to have 20% down. These programs are here for you if you don't have that large down payment ready. So the 10th mistake when buying a house is ignoring discount points. Discount points are super important. They don't always work out in your favor, but basically what they are is you can pay a certain amount of money at the closing table to drive your interest rate down. So this worked out a lot for me whenever I purchased my last property. I did pay about $200, but then when I looked at that, that $200 investment will pay itself off in just 5 years. So I think that's a pretty good turnaround time. So make sure you do the math. Think about, if I pay the discount point, if I pay this amount today, how much will it save me in interest down the road? If that one-time investment doesn't pay itself off for 30 years, it's probably not a good idea. But if you can pay $200, $300, $400 and you save that much in interest in the first year, obviously that's a good decision. That's a decision that I'll make every day. So the last and final mistake that new home buyers make is applying for credit before the sale is final. I actually made this mistake when purchasing my house here. It was, I think, a week or 2 out from the closing, and I went to the furniture store and I put a bunch of furniture on credit card. And this was a huge mistake because I got a call from my lender and they were like, "What are you doing? You're insane." And I just simply didn't know. So I'm warning you now, this is a real risk, and you want to make sure that you apply for credit cards after the closing. After the closing, maybe 2 or 3 days after the closing, because otherwise it's going to leave a ding on your credit report. And if that's what the mortgage lender is using to prove you as a worthwhile buyer, any changes on that credit report is really going to throw them off. So you don't want to jeopardize anything in such a big important decision like this. So hold off on applying for any new credit until after the sale of your house. So yeah, guys, I hope you found value out of this video. Please hit a like and subscribe. Make sure you don't make any of these mistakes. Learn from my mistakes and use it whenever you're buying your next property. So I'll leave you guys to it. Hope you have a wonderful day and take it easy.